In a single electrifying instant, Michael Jordan seized a stinging insult and forged it into a soaring anthem of hope, a moment so visceral, so alive, that it etched itself into the hearts of all who witnessed it. Picture yourself swept up in that pulsing energy, where every heartbeat thunders with defiance. Every breath stokes the embers of a dream refusing to fade. Where were you when that moment unfolded, and where are you watching from today? Welcome to Timeless Stories, your gateway to tales that stir the spirit, provoke the mind, and spark a quiet revolution within. If these echoes of resilience tug at your soul, subscribe now and weave your journey into our vibrant tapestry of wisdom seekers. In the heart of a crisp autumn evening, within the humming walls of a bustling studio, tucked into the unassuming pulse of a city center, a moment was born. A moment so vivid, so charged with raw humanity, that it would ripple through time and lodge itself in the collective soul of all who bore witness. The studio glowed with a restless energy, bright lights clashing against soft murmurs, every shadow cradling the promise of something extraordinary. This was no ordinary stage. It was a crucible where history would be forged, where the air thrummed with the weight of anticipation. Among the eclectic crowd, some wide-eyed with reverence, others skeptical yet curious, sat Michael Jordan, a titan whose very presence seemed to weave threads of humility and unyielding fire into the room's fabric. Opposite him stood Logan Pierce, a host cloaked in sleek confidence, his reputation as sharp as the tailored lines of his suit. Known for wielding words like blades, Logan thrived on the edge of controversy, his smile a calculated invitation to chaos. Tonight, he had set his sights on Michael, intent on peeling back the layers of a legacy that had long towered over the world of sports. As the cameras hummed to life and the audience leaned in, a palpable tension thickened the air, a storm brewing beneath the surface, equal parts dread and exhilaration. Logan shuffled his cue cards with the precision of a chess player, his eyes glinting with the thrill of the hunt. "Michael," he began, his voice a velvet dagger dipped in both reverence and disdain. "You've dominated courts, stacked trophies, and carved out an empire that most can only dream of. Yet here you are still chasing something. What is it, if not more titles, more proof of a greatness already secured?" The words sliced through the silence, a deliberate provocation that split the room. Some snickered at the boldness, others held their breath, sensing the deeper currents stirring beneath. It was a gambit meant to shrink Michael's legend into a tally of victories, to question whether his fire had dimmed with time. But Michael didn't flinch. His hands rested steady on the arms of his chair, his gaze piercing past the words to the man who spoke them, unyielding and serene. Then, with a slight lean forward that seemed to draw the world closer, Michael's voice broke the stillness, not with anger, but with a quiet power that carried the weight of 1,000 battles. "Logan," he said, each syllable deliberate, "let me turn that around for you." There was no venom, only the measured rhythm of a soul tempered by storms far fiercer than this. "What pulls you out of bed each morning? Is it the rush of stirring the pot, the gleam of a headline that screams your name, or the flicker of satisfaction when someone trips over your words?" The room froze. Logan's polished mask flickered, a crack of doubt flashing in his eyes. What had been a battlefield of egos softened into a mirror held up to every heart present, a call to question, to reflect. Michael pressed on, his words weaving a tapestry of truth that wrapped around the audience like a warm, unshakable embrace. "Winning isn't just the gleam of gold or the roar of a crowd. It's not about the rings you wear or the fleeting spotlight that dances across your name. Real victory is the silent vow to outgrow who you were yesterday. It's the discipline to push when the stands are empty, the courage to cradle failure not as a wound, but as a spark that lights the way forward." His voice, steady yet alive with conviction, struck a chord that reverberated through every listener, a melody of resilience that drowned out the noise of doubt. The air shifted, heavy with the gravity of his meaning. What Logan had framed as a challenge, Michael transformed into a revelation. Not a defense of his past, but a testament to a journey still unfolding. The audience, once a patchwork of clashing sentiments, now breathed as one, bound by a shared awakening. Logan, sensing the narrative slipping from his grasp, scrambled to reclaim his footing. But Michael, he countered, his tone firm yet tinged with unease, what about the stumbles? Cut from your school team, the shadow of losses, even that baseball chapter that didn't quite soar. Aren't those signs it's time to let go? It was a jab laced with skepticism, a refusal to see the alchemy of struggle. The studio seemed to hold its breath, teetering on the edge of Michael's response. And then he laughed, a rich, rolling sound that spilled from a well of wisdom and scars earned. You're right, Logan, he said, his smile free of arrogance, radiant with hard-won peace. I've fallen more times than I can count. He turned to the crowd, his eyes a bridge to their own stories. But those falls, they're the heartbeat of perseverance. Every miss, every bruise, isn't a surrender. It's a dare to stand taller. The room exhaled, a tide of understanding washing over them. What had begun as a duel morphed into a sermon of sorts, not preached but lived, offered up with the vulnerability of a man who'd wrestled defeat and emerged stronger. The energy tilted, hostility melting into awe. Michael's honesty peeled back the myth of invincibility to reveal the marrow of triumph, a trail of missteps, each a lesson carved into his being. Think about it, he continued, his voice now a gentle thunder. Every shot I missed taught me something I couldn't see before. Every stumble was a whisper to dig deeper, to chase excellence not for praise, but for the quiet fire of knowing I left nothing on the table. It was an invitation to the audience, to Logan, to anyone listening, to reframe their own fractures as foundations, their own shadows as light waiting to break through. Logan faltered, his arsenal of provocations dwarfed by the depth of Michael's clarity. What he'd wielded as a weapon had instead opened a door to a conversation far richer than he'd intended, one that stripped success to its bones and found it rooted not in perfection, but in the relentless dance of rising again. The studio, once a theater of conflict, became a sanctuary of insight, where every soul was left to ponder. Where had they watched this moment unfold? And where did they stand now, peering back through the lens of their own struggles? Michael Jordan didn't just turn the tables that night. He turned a mirror on the world, reflecting a truth as timeless as it was profound. Greatness isn't the absence of failure, but the audacity to meet it head-on, to let it shape you without breaking you. And in that cool autumn glow, amid the hum of a city that never paused, a legend reminded us all that the truest victories are the ones we fight for within. On a crisp autumn evening, beneath the hum of studio lights and the weight of 1,000 unspoken dreams, Michael Jordan sat poised, not as a titan of sport, but as a man carved by time, his presence a quiet storm of humility and fire. What began as a duel of words with Logan Pierce, a host armed with sharp cynicism and a hunger for unraveling legends, spiraled into something far greater, a clarion call that pierced the veil of the ordinary and beckoned every soul present to rise. As the conversation deepened, Michael's voice softened, peeling back the layers of his storied past to reveal a truth raw and luminous. I haven't pushed myself all these years to prove anything to the world, he said, his eyes tracing the faces before him, each one a mirror of hope, doubt, or quiet yearning. I do it for that one soul out there, lost in the shadows of their own struggle, who needs to see that greatness isn't bestowed. It's forged, hammered out in the unrelenting heat of trial and will. His words were no mere reflection. They were a heartbeat, pulsing with purpose, a summons to those who would inherit the earth after him. A champion isn't crowned by the weight of victories alone, he continued, his tone steady yet alive with an unshakable conviction, but by the echoes they leave in the lives they touch, through kindness, through guidance, through the stubborn courage to stand when the ground beneath trembles. Every syllable carried the scars of his own journey, each setback a brick in the foundation of a legacy not bound by trophies, but by the boundless reach of inspiration. The studio, once a cauldron of tension, softened into something sacred, a space where the air itself seemed to whisper of possibility, where success shed its shallow skin to reveal a deeper essence, the relentless pursuit of growth, the audacity to share wisdom amid the wreckage of one's own falls. In that pause, the encounter shed its skin of confrontation and unfurled into something transcendent. What Logan had wielded as a weapon of provocation, Michael recast as a vessel of grace, a sanctuary where every misstep was not a stain, but a star in the constellation of a life well lived. Logan's edges softened, his voice, once a blade of skepticism, dipping into a hesitant murmur. Maybe, he said, the words fragile as if tasting them for the first time. Every failure is just another chance to begin again, to become more. The admission was a thread of dawn breaking through his guarded night, a reluctant surrender to the lesson Michael had woven into the air. The room exhaled as one, the collective breath a hymn to the human spirit's quiet alchemy, how it turns leaden defeat into golden possibility. On Timeless Stories, we cradle these moments, tales that demand we look within, learn, and rise anew. If Michael's voice has stirred the embers of your spirit, if his path has kindled a flicker of your own resilience, pause here. What fracture have you turned into a fortress? How have your own stumbles sculpted the soul you carry today? His words are not his alone, they are yours, a thread in the fabric of your own becoming. If this tale has moved you, if it's fanned the flame of your quiet courage, let it ripple outward, share it, hold it close. Join us at Timeless Stories. We are a chorus of seekers bound by the belief that every struggle is a story waiting to soar. Your path, like Michael's, is a testament to the human heart's relentless dance, a spirit that bows to no boundary, that rises when the world expects it to break. Each dawn is yours to claim, a blank page where your struggles become your strength, your victories a song for others to sing. Carry this truth. The deepest wisdom often blooms in the cracks of our hardest days. Thank you for walking this tale with us. May it fuel you to meet your own giants, to live with a heart wide open, and to cast a light that others might follow. Until we meet again, keep daring, keep growing, and let your story echo through the ages. If this has touched you, spread its warmth today. Reflect on its lessons, share your voice below, and know, every fall is but the wind beneath your next rise. Join us for more stories that remind us. The human spirit bends, but it never breaks.